Very, very good evening. It is Thursday, 19th of January 2023. I joined you a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday morning, I'm not quite sure. I'm losing track of time. Failsworth Academy. So it's the Co Operative Academy Failsworth, run by the Co Operative Group. So they have about 12 academies across the northwest, I suppose. When the academies came in, and there was opportunities for organisations not necessarily equipped, from the business sector and stuff to sponsor academies, the Co-op Group stepped forward into traditional working class communities. Give them the due. Also put money in, so also to give them the due. Co-op is the co-op after all, and they had a tradition of working in communities. I think it's important for me to start with my own story of the co-op. One year, when I was running Peacemaker a long time ago, I wrote to the co-op asking for some help with a project we wanted to run. It was weird. From my recollection, it was actually with refugees and asylum-seeking young people, particularly undocumented ones who, through no fault of their own, many of them have been people smuggled in. You know them now as the runner, Mo Farah, I think, is the most famous of those young people who were smuggled in, and then they had to work for their passports, basically. It was a modern-day slavery. And I'd written to the co-op asking for some help with a project we wanted to trial. Do you know what they did in return? They sent me a cheque for £50,000. Not me personally, but the organisation. They sent the organisation a cheque for £50,000. So in no way is any of this a criticism or anything I'm going to share a criticism of the cooperative. I think in and around the Greater Manchester area, Rochdale, Oldham, Manchester, they've served communities, and they saw education as a way of supporting and continuing to serve communities. So I think that's important to start with. Okay, so this is what I've been able to piece together. How much, and I think it's true and accurate, and there still might be holes in it, and there still might be new evidence that emerges, or new information that comes to light that adds a different slant. What happened at the Cooperative Academy in Failsworth is not a one-off. And I'm going to try my best to pick my words carefully. What happened with the children is not only not a one-off, but the institutional response and cover-up is also not a one-off. Some of it may be driven by fear of being branded racist. I think my view is, having come on this journey for as long as I have, and remember, I started on the other side. I started on the side of as a decorated anti-racist. But I think some of it genuinely is those in positions of power and authority actually attempting to stir up racial division through which they benefit. So, when the video footage first came to light, and the next day, the girls who did the attacking were in school. There was no sanctions against them. And to the best of my knowledge, the school has not initiated any sanctions towards them. Councillor Mark Wilkinson, to give him credit, took the initiative and contacted the school. Remember, Councillor Mark Wilkinson is the elected representative of Failsworth West. He's the councillor. He's the means through which democratic engagement in this town takes place for that community, in that community. The head teacher in the school informed him, Mr. Quirk, Phil Quirk, informed him that the school was operating a no comment policy. Meanwhile, the video had been viewed, and when I last checked, it was at something like 300,000 off just one account on Twitter across the world. And the narrative was pretty straightforward. Well, in fact, it was very straightforward. When white people get attacked by black people, it's not racist. And when white people get attacked by black people, it's covered up. And when white people get attacked by black people, what else do you expect? This is the reality of diversity. I think that's what one of the comments was. As I've shared with you, that's not my experience of diversity. And I've seen plenty of people beat plenty of people up for other reasons than the colour of their skin or their faith or any of those things like that, particularly with children. But the school, my information is the school was hoping it would all go away and tried to bury its head in the sand with its no comment policy, and no sanctions were taken against the perpetrators in the video. Greater Manchester Police. Well, I'll bring up the tweet and the comments so we can have a look at this together. You can see Oldham Police GMP posted 7 hours ago. Arrest. Hashtag arrest. Officers in Oldham have made an arrest. That means singular arrest. After reports of an incident involving 3 girls was circulated on social media. So they admit that the arrest took place after the social media. Remember, the mother has gone on social media. The mother of the victim has gone on social media on Facebook on one of the Failsworth pages and confirmed that the police have been made aware. So they've reported the crime. But here it's clear that what triggered it, and it's my experience, that the police are corrupt and would have liked to have buried this if possible. But it's the social media. Once again, it's what took place on social media that is holding them to account. The outrage on social media. And the video apparently appeared to show 2 girls attacking another. I'm not sure. Maybe there's legal reasons for the word appeared. And they admit that the police were alerted on the 17th. Remember, today's the 19th. So they've took 2 days. More here. So let's press it. Yes, Julie, only one arrest. Officers in Oldham have made an arrest after reports of an incident involving 3 girls which has been circulated on social media. So the police knew about it on the evening of the 17th of January and said nothing. Provided no reassurance. Went and arrested no one, even though the perpetrators were known to them. And in that vacuum, that video has spread across the world, and our town has been once again portrayed as a racist cesspit. The leader of a council has yet to comment. And the mayor, Elaine Gary, who's a Failsworth councillor, has not uttered a single word. Apparently, as a result of proactive inquiries by the Failsworth neighbourhood team, a 15-year-old girl was subsequently arrested. Now, I understand that policing is not what it used to be. But what on earth do they mean by proactive inquiries? There's video footage. The 2 girls are in uniform. A simple phone call to the principal of the school or speaking to the victim would have identified exactly who those 2 girls were. So what on earth is proactive inquiries mean? These police, these Greater Manchester, they take you all for fools. They take us for fools. Proactive police inquiries. Maybe proactive inquiries means that they just turned up. Maybe we've got to a situation Will Greater Manchester Police deem it a success indicator for turning up? As a result of proactive inquiries by the Failsworth neighbourhood team, a 15-year-old girl was subsequently arrested. She has since been released whilst the investigations progress, with further arrests expected to be made imminently. Okay, you need to understand what that means. She's not been charged. If she had been charged, if she had been bailed even, it would be here. But so she has since been released whilst the investigation progresses, means she's been released without being bailed and without being charged. Because if she had been bailed, it would say she'd been bailed pending further inquiries. But it doesn't say that. It says she has since been released. And if she had been charged for assault or racially motivated assault or whatever it was, it would have said it there. But there's nothing. The police are playing games with all of you. With all of us. It's clever writing to suggest one thing without actually committing to it, when really something else has took place. I know, because I spent a lifetime doing it and being around people who've done it. So that's what that is. Superintendent PHILLIP Hutchinson. I couldn't find a picture of you, Superintendent Hutchinson, but I will. Give it time and I will. And I'll plaster your photograph all over the internet. Because you are exploiting my people. You are demonizing them, and there will be a reckoning for you, the same as Andy Burnham, same as Jim McMahon and everyone else. What are you going to do? Come and arrest me again? Try it. Superintendent PHILLIP Hutchinson of Greater Manchester Police's Oldham District said, "We would always encourage people to report incidents of this nature. Mate, the mother reported it. Whether you're a victim or a witness, and I would like to thank those who have come forward with information. We won't tolerate behaviour like this," so he's admitting we won't tolerate behaviour like this. So he's admitting that the behaviour from a police officer saying we won't tolerate behaviour like this, he's admitting that the behaviour passes a criminal threshold. I'd like to think so. Beating the crap out of a child, two young women beating the crap out of a third, whilst the third one films it and laughs at it. Yeah, I'd like to think you won't tolerate that. It's criminal. So if you won't tolerate it, and our officers have acted swiftly to investigate once we were made aware of the video. Once again, the mother reported it. Once again, the mother reported it. And once again, what this demonstrates is why they want to close us down and all, platforms like ours down. Because they want to decide what they do, when they do, and how they do it, and ignore what they want when they want. The victim in this case is being supported by our officers as the investigation continues. Baby, they need to phone the serious crime agency or something, because it's clear that the police officers at Oldham Police Station have no idea of what policing is if they need to continue this investigation as it is some sort of complex case. If anybody has any information, blah, blah, blah. This is a nice one. I would like to remind people that they shouldn't be sharing this video or commenting on it as it forms part of a live investigation. Bollocks. That's complete nonsense. Now, you know why I have not shared the video. But they shouldn't be sharing this video or commenting on it. What do we mean by commenting on it? It's on the front page of the Manchester Evening News now. So I'd like to remind people that they shouldn't be sharing this video or commenting on it as it forms part of a live investigation. One moment. Greater Manchester Police Chief Superintendent Hutchinson wants to intimidate and silence us from sharing our outrage and critiquing their response by wanting to remind people that they shouldn't be sharing this video or commenting on it as it forms part of a live investigation. Here is the Manchester Evening News. Arrest after footage shows schoolgirl beating victim in horror attack. And you can press play. I won't do it, but you can see. Warning, distressing. So, Failsworth schoolgirls fighting. Now, I don't say that's fighting. So, there you go. The MEN. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Hutchinson? Because that last statement was an attempt to intimidate people like me and people like you. Yet here is the newspaper. We do not live in a police state. You might want it to be so, but we do not live in a police state. The Manchester Evening News has shared the video. What are you going to do, Hutchinson? Are you going to go? Superintendent Hutchinson, what are you going to do? Are you going to go and arrest the editor of the Manchester Evening News? How about the guy who wrote the article? Let me find his name at the top. Neil Keeling, chief reporter. Come on. Go and arrest Neil Keeling, chief reporter. And the guy who comments on it. Failsworth West Councillor Mark Wilkinson, a former policeman, is commenting. Are you going to arrest a councillor? The Co Op Academy head teacher, headmaster Mr. Quirk, is commenting. Are you going to go and arrest him? Greater Manchester Police are attempting to intimidate and silence legitimate criticism and legitimate outrage. And that police officer, and I'll bring it up again. You can see I'm not making any of this up. Superintendent PHILLIP HUTCHINSON of GMP's Oldham District. I would like to remind people that they shouldn't be sharing this video or commenting on it as it forms part of a live investigation. There should be a formal complaint against Superintendent PHILLIP HUTCHINSON. He should be suspended with immediate effect. He's attempting to bury this. Come on, go and arrest the chief reporter of the Manchester Evening News. Absolute dickhead. Now we all know this arrest would never have taken place if it was not for pressure by decent people like us. We also all know, by decent people like us taking ownership of this and fighting for it, and fighting for justice on this. And justice on this, by the way, is police action to go and arrest the young women who were involved. We know if that had not taken place, also the far right, and they were doing it and attempting it, and they have done it successfully, apart from here, in the town where it's took place because of us, because of you, because of people like Mark Wilkinson. Notice, Superintendent PHILLIP HUTCHINSON makes no reference as to whether this was a racially motivated attack. My experience is, if it wasn't a racially motivated attack, they would have been immediately confirming that. We do not believe it's a racially motivated attack. Blah, blah, blah. There'd be something. There isn't. I fear if we don't keep this in the public discourse, they will do nothing. They won't charge. There'll be no convictions, nothing. And I ask you, what sort of signal does that send out? When society falls apart, it's not one big thing that happens overnight. It's a series of small steps. And this will be another small step. Superintendent PHILLIP HUTCHINSON should actually be made to apologise for his last statement, or Chief Superintendent, the next one higher, Chris BOWEN, made to explain what that last sentence means. I would like to remind people that they shouldn't be sharing this video or commenting on it as it forms part of a live investigation. That is a threat. That is a threat to every one of you by a senior police officer in this town. And that threat has no legitimacy. It is completely outrageous. And the law does not work that way. And Superintendent PHILLIP HUTCHINSON knows this. It is the first thing they do, older man. We do not believe this incident is terror related or it's not a racially motivated incident. I believe it is. I think increasingly, by the way everyone is reacting, it is. I would rather it wasn't, but increasingly, by the way. Which brings me on to my next bit of information I have from putting the pieces together here. Failsworth School has not been, simply because of the demographic it historically draws its catchment from, does not have the staff or the expertise or the confidence, it's really about confidence, to deal particularly with black children who misbehave and who are involved in some of this sort of stuff. And now my understanding is a lot of them come in on the tram from areas like Moston. And indeed, for fear of being branded racist, it's not even an unconscious bias. The conscious bias in that school is to let things go when the behaviour of those from black backgrounds, children from black backgrounds, falls below the standard. That's not going to end well. Furthermore, having gone and spoken to my sources in other schools, this is a growing issue in a number of schools, and I'm being careful. Where children from a certain demographic background are involved in unruly behaviour, bullying, harassment, attacks. They're children. What do you think children are going to do if they can get away with it? And this gang culture and this violent culture that we've seen sweep across London, do you think it's only going to be contained to London? No. And the fear of being branded racist as a reason for not intervening from my point of view, fails those children the most. A child having a fight in a school when they're 12. And if we intervene and do what we should be doing, means that child isn't stabbing someone when they're 17 or 18, or going on the rampage, stealing bicycles, mugging all women. Small steps. And this is the thing I genuinely struggle to understand. You say they're not brought up with morals or boundaries. I've spent my life working across parts of Africa. I have never experienced such well-behaved children. And I remember coming back thinking they have so little, and yet they value education so much. And that's across the board. I know it's a massive continent, but it's across the board. So there's something else going on, because these children are soaking in a cultural identity from the wider black diaspora. And these children have an outlook, and these are my experiences, my interpretations, my opinions. That they have a victim mentality here. And that victim mentality, from everything from the Black Lives Matters nonsense, the perception that they're already oppressed, when our country is one of the most liberal in the world, most accepting in the world. And when you enter a space with those negative views and opinions and attitudes, you're looking to be slighted. You're looking to be offended. And you draw, I suppose the word is inspiration. You draw your inspiration from the YouTube videos which young people like you are reacting in a certain way. And we need to intervene now before it gets out of control. The schools need to acknowledge that they have an issue within their culture, predominantly white, liberal, middle class, fear of being branded racist, and in parallel, a contempt for working class children. And as the census figures in Oldham show, and across Greater Manchester, there is a growing black community. And I mean not the traditional African Caribbean Windrush generation, a new wave. And just because they're black doesn't mean they're anything like those from the Barbados or Jamaica or the Caribbean that came. And there is an issue. There's an issue in Blessed Henry Newman. There's an issue in Failsworth. Radcliffe. There's issues. There's issues across the board. And we are failing all of our children by refusing to instill our values and our standards, and implement an equitable policy irrespective of what backgrounds the students come from. And that is why Co Op Academy is in a mess. And it's easy to use words like woke, But what I'm hopefully articulating to all of you is the subtleties and the nuances of what is taking place. And unless there is radical change in our education system, we, the graduates, the disproportionate number of black children from our schools in Oldham, will end up, just look at London. Just look at London. Superintendent PHILLIP HUTCHINSON is a disgrace. The headmaster, Philip Quirk, is a coward and complicit. You're a head teacher. There's a reason why you're a head teacher. There's a reason why you're a head teacher. Leadership. And where is Amanda CHADDERTON? Where is Harry Caffrell? Please, in the coming days and weeks, continue to talk about this. Continue to share your opinions on this. Continue to understand and reflect on what I've tried to share with you. And avoid the far right trap, which I think is what GMP actually want and the council want, so it's easier. You know, if you come across as racist, it's easier, isn't it, to pigeonhole you and say a bunch of racists, over there, ignore them. Those who have failed this white child were not black people. They weren't Asian people, they weren't Muslims. Those who have failed them were fake liberal middle class white people who have contempt for working class white people. And some of these also fearful of their jobs, fearful of being branded racist. So they look the other way. The parallels with the cover-up of the rape gangs are there for everyone to see. If you find value in my work, please like the video. If you can, buy me a coffee. I like to think I share with you a perspective you would not get anywhere else. And I help you navigate complex and challenging issues. Where I equip you with the skills for you to make your own mind up. And most of all, as this week has shown, I provide a platform and amplify the voices of a community, of our community, of our town, whereby those that should know better, who would otherwise make the easy choice and ignore this, are forced to act and intervene. My instincts are they'll just try and caution this child and hope it goes away. They need to be prosecuted. But this is more than just one isolated incident. There is a culture breeding in this town that will only come back to bite us. Ordinarily, I would plead to those who run our education services, but they have no clue. I would plead to our politicians, but their complicity, it suits them, dividing our communities and making racists out of white people and victims out of black people, and the envy and the fear between them. It's how they maintain power. My name is Raja Mir. This was a Recusant 9. transmission. Hopefully see you all on Sunday. Have a very good evening.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.